بتدلي فيه رأيك على الهواء. أنت بتمارس حرية التعبير، أنت بتحمي حرية الإعلام، أنت بتحافظ على حيوية الإذاعة المستقلة، وأنت بتشارك بفعالية في عملية الحوكمة. كثير من الناس ما بيعرفوا، لكن الاتصالات والتعليقات والمحادثات دي ما مجرد كلام، بل هي أفعال مشاركة عامة، نبض مجتمع حر ومنفتح. بالتحدث أنت بتساهم في محاسبة القادة وإثارة قضايا المجتمع وتشكيل الحوارات الوطنية. بدون صوتك بيصمت الميكروفون. استمر في الاتصال، استمر في الكلام، لأنه لما يتكلم الشعب بتتنفس الديمقراطية.
عزيزي مستمع إذاعة آي راديو، لما تشارك في أي موضوع على الإذاعة أرجوك تفادي تصريحات بتحرض أو بيشجع على الكراهية. إحنا بنشجع نقد بناء وآراء هادفة اللي بتهدف إلى توفير الحلول للمشاكل اللي بتواجه الدولة. إحنا ما دايرين ترويج للشائعات أو المعلومات اللي بتعتبر بأنها شائعة أو أغاويل. إحنا بندعو إلى رسائل السلام والوحدة بين مواطنين جنوب السودان. ده آي راديو، عينك على جنوب السودان.
The Dawn on I Radio.
Yes, a very good morning to you and welcome to the second half of the Dawn program here on our radio, a live broadcast from the capital, Juba. My name is Emmanuel Joseph Akila and today is Wednesday, the 4th of June 2025, 12 minutes now after the hour of 7. Now I move on with our program and we cross to Morobo County of Central Equatoria State, where an eyewitness has reported that thousands of South Sudanese along the Ugandan border have been forced to flee into South Sudan following a 3-day operation by the Ugandan Army or UPDF. Vita Henry, who is a journalist working he worked at Morobo FM, which is currently off air due to insecurity in the area, told iRadio that last week the Ugandan Army arrested South Sudanese refugees residing in Busia, Mugujal and also Keji Aria after gunshots were reportedly fired into Ugandan territory from the South Sudanese side. Now, these refugees had settled in camps inside Uganda's Koboko district following violence in 2016. But then due to harsh living conditions and cuts in food aid, many abandoned the camps and instead settled along the border. So Henry explained that although these refugees have homes in Uganda, they often cross into South Sudan to farm before returning to the camps. Henry explained more to my colleague Lasuba Memo in the following interview.
These people are gathering in a place called Nyarigolo of Palime Boma, Palime Tahemoro County. That's along the border of Busia, Uganda side. So these people were displaced in Uganda. It is an operation that is carried by the Ugandan UPDF or Uganda People's Defense Force along their territory in villages like Busia, Mogojai, and Kejiarea. So that operation was basically to vacate the South Sudanese of settled in those villages. Of course, these are refugees. These are South Sudanese with the refugee status who flee the country during the 2016 crisis in South Sudan. So people came to Uganda and they were taken to the camps. After some time, Uganda decided to categorize people based on the categories, like category 1, category 2, category 3. So those now who fall in category 3 do not access food ratio completely. They are cut off. But then before the category 3 people, in the category 2 there was a reduction in the food ratio. So the food ratio was reduced like to 4 kgs per person for the whole month. Now people decided to come to the border, settle around the border, now to start farming in the other side, in the South Sudan side. Their homes are in the Ugandan side, but they could cross to Palime for cultivation. So people settled for some even started settling there since 2016. And just went to the camp for registration, they came back and settled along the border. So in the process, about 3 weeks ago, we all had that there were clashes between the IO forces and the SSPDF in Morobo County. So for those who crossed to the South Sudan border were displaced due to also these clashes, they crossed to Uganda to settle around Busia, residing there. So in the process, as signs of insecurity started, it was on Tuesday. On Tuesday, there were gunshots around the South Sudan border, but later on, these gunshots escalated to Uganda border. People could shoot from South Sudan border to Uganda border, the Ugandan side. So in the morning, that's when now the UPDF decided to enter those three villages and started forceful displacement, like arresting South Sudanese who are there to be taken to a place called Ikeri. Later on, when you reach Ikeri, you are taken to the camp and dumped there. On the process, some who were taken to the camp, they were dumped there. There was nothing like food, and people also started coming back from the camp also to cross to South Sudan. Now, those who could not fall victims of arrest decided to cross to South Sudan. So the operation took like 2 to 3 days. It was a serious, massive operation. So those who were able to run to South Sudan decided to go to where currently they are. So the place currently they are gathering in is just a very small PHCU in Nyarigolo, and they are gathered in now with an intention of saying they could not go to the camp simply because their conditions in the camp that they could not access food. Already some of them left the camp 2 or 3 years ago. There are no shelters there. Better they cross back to their country so that they die there. So this has been the situation on the ground.
Right.
But on the process of crossing, I think the community decided to mobilize these volunteers. They used to start registering these people on the community level. So the acting Payam director was by then in training in Yei, but he directed one of his Boma acting administrators to start registering these displaced in Ugandan border to South Sudan. So people were registered. The first day, I could not access the area because of the insecurity. There were no roads, one could not pass. As long as you are got around South Sudan, Ugandan territory, you are arrested. Whether being with the refugee card or without refugee card, you are arrested, boarded to the UPDF lorries, taken to Keri. Later in Keri, you are taken to the camp. So the first day I could not access, but later on, the second day and the third day, I got a chance to come to the border, and I crossed to South Sudan to see the situation. So I started even posting my images the very day I entered South Sudan to assess the status of the displaced.
How is their status? The condition of the people?
The condition of the people is at stake. Honestly, the facility where they are based currently could not even accommodate like 100 people. But then, people are just there, children are there, elders are there, and the women are there. So it was on a Thursday where it rained heavily. People were watched from outside. The condition is completely not easy. Taking the fact that though these people were farming around, but then shelter becomes a big problem.
Right.
So people do not access shelter.
You did say. I just want to understand the trigger of the insecurity along the border. You seem to have said that the Ugandan forces launched an operation along the border, but in the process there was actually shooting from the side of South Sudan, which actually escalated the insecurity. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So who are those volunteering to help the displaced? You said local communities, or they are non-governmental organizations?
They are local community. I mean, those even who are displaced themselves not volunteer to continue registration.
What did they tell you of the figure of those who were displaced to Nyarigulo?
The first day when I went, the figure was about 112 households. But later when I went yesterday, the figure rose to 587 households. In a total population is about 11,000 people.
Right.
But the households number was around 5,087.
And what is the overview of the security situation in Morobo County?
The level of the security situation at the moment is not all that safe because where these people are currently based yes, this is a government-controlled area. Due to the clashes, when the clashes happen, the confrontation between the IO and the government forces. Now, this place was taken off by the government. The HSPDF currently are in Narigolo and Palimescent as well. But then, in the bushes, I think we are getting complaints of people moving and the civilians, those who are busy in the village being harassed. Sometimes there are people who go to them with the guns. We cannot know now if they are the IO forces, if they are the government forces, but there are a bit of these groups that sometimes come, take people's property, take people's roads, they go. So those are the kind of the thing happening in the villages of Nyori East, Lujo East, Yari there, and the place called the in the village called the Nyogoni. So there are these signs of people still moving in the villages with the guns in groups, and you cannot know because the civilians do not know exactly since they are wearing the same uniform. So one could not describe whether it's their government forces or their IO forces. One could not describe. But then where these displaced are currently, the place seems to be relatively safe given the fact that they are next to the government forces.
نعم. وده برضو هناك اللقاء اللي عمله الزميل لسوبا ميمو مع فيتا هنري اللي هو صحفي اللي طبعا يشاهد العيان، اللي قال انه الالاف من الناس من جنوب السودان على طول الحدود اليوغندية بالقرب من مقاطعة موربو هم اجبروا عشان هم يجروا من يوغندا الى جنوب السودان بعد عملية عسكرية استمرت 3 أيام شناه أو قام به الجيش اليوغندي. هنري برضو اللي كان شغال في إذاعة بتاعت موربو FM الوقف حاليا عن البث بسبب انعدام الأمن في المنطقة، وهو قال إنه الجيش اليوغندي اعتقل في الأسبوع الفات لاجئين من جنوب السودان اللي هم قاعدين في بوسيا وموغوجاي وكجي أريا بعد إطلاق نار على الأراضي اليوغندية من الجانب من جنوب السودان. استقر اللاجئين اللي هم رجعوا ده في مخيمات داخل مقاطعة كوبوكو اليوغندية ده بعد أعمال العنف اللي اندلع سنة 2016. مع كده بسبب الظروف المعيشية القاسية وتخفيضات المساعدات الغذائية، الكثير من الناس هم جروا من مخيمات بتاعهم واستقروا بدلا من ذلك على طول بتاع الحدود. وأوضح هنري أنه على الرغم من أنه اللاجئين عندهم منازل أو بيوت في يوغندا، لكن غالبا هم بيجوا إلى جنوب السودان عشان يزرعوا قبل ما هم يرجعوا إلى المخيمات بتاعهم هناك في يوغندا. كيف ممكن السلطات تقوم بدور بتاعها في جنوب السودان لعودة اللاجئين عشان يرجعوا للبيوت بتاعهم ويرجعوا للبلاد ويكونوا في اطمئنان والسلام وأمان؟ اتصل علينا على 1122 986 986 لكن بعد الفاصل.
The Ministry of Health is conducting a commemoration of African Vaccination Week with rotavirus vaccine targeting all children aged between 6 to 10 weeks. Take your child to the nearest health center during the African Vaccination Week or the Big Catch Up campaign.
Good morning, Mama Nyandeng.
Good morning, Mama Mercy. Where are you coming from this morning?
I had taken Mercy for rota vaccine at the health center to protect my child against rotavirus diarrhea in infants and children. She was also vaccinated with other routine immunization vaccines at no cost. Is baby Mercy already vaccinated?
Yes, she was vaccinated last month. Does she need to be vaccinated again?
Yes. She needs to be vaccinated with at least 2 doses of rota vaccine at 6 and 10 weeks to be fully vaccinated, immunized, and protected against rotavirus.
Really? I just heard from afar that there will be a vaccination campaign during the African Vaccination Week, but I was not keen enough to get the details.
You know, rotavirus vaccines are effective in preventing diarrhea and deaths in infants and young children. This vaccine has just been introduced this year, 2025. A lot of children were not vaccinated. Some even travel without being vaccinated. I wouldn't want to see any child get diarrhea.
I didn't know that rotavirus is that serious, that it can even cause death.
Yes. Rotavirus is a life-threatening disease caused by the virus. The signs are fever and vomiting, followed by watery diarrhea, and can cause abdominal pain and dehydration. Children who survive may be dehydrated, which can cause serious complications.
Dehydrated or serious complication? Oh, that sounds scary. How can I protect my child from this dangerous disease?
The only way for your child to be safe is when your child and all children in your neighborhood are vaccinated with Rota vaccine.
I will do that immediately. Where can I take my child for these vaccines? Hope it's not late.
No, you are not late. Rota vaccine and all the other routine vaccines are available at all health facilities and designated health centers located in your areas. Tell all your neighbors with children between 6 to 10 weeks to be vaccinated.
I'm glad you told me. I will take my child immediately to the nearest health center for Rota vaccination.
Bring your child to the nearest vaccination site and protect them from rotavirus and vaccine-preventable diseases. This message is brought to you by the National Ministry of Health with support from WHO and UNICEF.
Ready to give your engine the best care it deserves? Introducing Tropic's fully synthetic petrol engine oil. Engineered for peak performance, it provides superior protection against wear and tear, ensuring your engine runs smoother and lasts longer. For diesel engine drivers, meet Atro Oil Platinum Engine Oil. This premium oil is designed to enhance fuel efficiency and reduce emissions, giving your engine the power it needs to tackle any challenges on the road. 2 oil, 1 promise of hassle-free reliability. Visit your nearest Haas petrol station today and experience the power of Tropics and Atro Oil, because what goes to your engine matters. Haas Petroleum, servicing new frontiers.
وزارة الصحة قاموا لذكرى تتيم أسبوع الأفريقي بتتيم تحسبة الجديد لإيال كله من عمر 6 ل 18 شهور. شيلوا جنتك في أقرب مركز تتيم في فترة حملة الكبير ده.
صباح الخير أمة ميري.
صباح النور أمة غلوريا. وإنت راجع من وين صبا زيدي؟
أنا شيلو غلوريا عشان بوريلو تطعيم حسبة في مركز الصحي، وكمان وديلو تطعيمات تانين الروتين لمناعة، ودي كله مجان. سيتا شيلو ميري كلاس لتطعيم؟
أي أنا شيلو في تطعيم شهر الفات، ولا كمان دير كدنا رجعو تاني.
أي أو محتاج عشان بتعمو تاني. على الأقل كدو شيلو 2 جرعة تطعيم حسبة، وباقي تطعيمات تانين الروتين من 9 ل 18 شهر عشان حسبة ما بيجالو.
سي أنا اسمع من بيت قالي في حملة تطعيم بيجا عملوا في فترة تا أسبوع الأفريقي للتطعيم، لكن أنا ما كنت بالتا إلا تفاصيل تكلام دي.
إنت عارف تطعيم حسبة دي وكمان فعال وبيشتغل قوام وبيحامي جنا من حسبة وموتوا لإيال البرادة وإيال السكرين. إيال كتير ما ودلو من جرعة نمرة 2، وفي تانين ذاته سافر بدون ما بيشيلوا تطعيم دي. أنا ما دير أينو إيه جنا بيقو بدو بحسبة.
يا سلام، أنا ما أعرف قالي حسبة دي مرض الخطر زي دي بيسببوا ضوافات وكمان بيجيبوا موتوا لجنة تاعي.
أي مرض حسبة دي وبيهددوا حياة وسبب تويا فيروس حسبة. علاماته حمى وقحة، أنافة بجري موية، ويون بتالا أمر بجري موية، ويالا اللي بيكون كويسين من عيان دي مناعتهم بيكون ضعيف ومم بيكون عنده مشاكل في مخ، لكن ده نادر ما بيحصل كتير لكنه خطر كمان.
جهاز المناعة بيكون ضعيف وكمان بيسبب مشكلة في المخ. مالو كلام ده قوي فانا زي دي. أنا سيب بقدر حمي جنتي كيف من مرض الخطر دي.
طريقة الوحيد عشان جنتك بيكون في أمان ده كان جنتك ويال تحلة شيلوا تطعيم حسبة.
أنا أقول أعمل الكلام ده حاسة دي. أنا بلقوا محل تطعيم ده وين، وأنا بتمنى إن شاء الله أنا ماكر.
لا إنت ماخر. تطعيم حسبة ده وتطعيمات تانين الروتين ده كله متوفر في مركز الصحي ومحلات الخصصوا لمركز الصحة في حلتكم. وريلو كل جيراناتك الإيال تومن من 6 ل 59 شهر عشان بيشيلوا إيال تومن في تطعيم.
أنا مرتاح عشان توري لنا خبر ده. أنا بشيل جنتي حاسي لأقرب مركز الصحي للتطعيم عشان هو بيلقوا التطعيم تاع حزبة دي.
جيبوا جنتاكي في أقرب مركز تصحة عشان يتبهاميو بتطعيم من حزبة وأيانات تانين، وبعد تطعيم بوديلة كريت وكدتا حافظوا تمام كدتا استمر دو جنا أليندو حزبة دي وكدتا وديلو أكل الفوق غذاء تمام. الرسالة دي جالتكم من وزارة الصحة بمساعدة من WHO ويونيسيف.
مرحبا بك من الفاصل. 29 دقيقة لرأس السادة، الوقت اللي فيه نرفع المكالمات موضوع بتاع الحدث اللي حصل في موربو والحوجة اللي بيحتاج له اللاجئين اللي رجعوا من يوغندا. راديو
إيمانويل جوزيف أكيل، صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
تحية لك في الاستديو تيم العامل، وأيضا تحية للمستمعين وشاق برنامج الدون الصباحي بالأخص المتصلين معكم أيزك.
نعم.
ما يدور في يوغندا أنا من ضمن الناس أنا ببسط على ذلك كويس. ده يعني قاعدين ننبه للمواطنين بتاعتنا يا جماعة، قوات بتاعت المخيمات قوات بتاع يوغندا، البلد بلد بتاعك كويس. مهما كان لو بيقى سخن لو بيقى نار لو بيقى شنو، ده بلدك انت بيكون قاعد فوق حر كويس. لكن ما ممكن اقل هم اننا ماشيين يوغندا وجاراس ماشيين يوغندا كويس. انت اللي بتين تأسس نفسك، الليلة هنا وبكرة هنا، الليلة هناك وبكرة، انت ما عندك استقرار في نفسك كويس. ده كله بيخلق الناس منهم روح بتاعت الوطنية ذاته، روح بتاعت القلب بتاعت الدولة بتاعهم، منتقل إلا للدولة بتاع لجارك كويس. انت لما تكون قاعد في دولة كامل كأنك انت قاعد ومهاجر بيت، وصاحب البيت يتأيزر في زمان والمكان ممكن يجيك ويقول لك بكرة أنا البيت بتاعي، انت منك اي احترام منك الحق كويس. ده واحد. انتوا ارجعوا للدولة بتاعتكم لعرض بتاعتكم وزاول اعمالكم زيكم زي اي مواطن عادي، زي المواطنين عادي زي ما كانوا انتوا قاعدين. لا زول يشكي موضوع مشمة، لا زول يشكي موضوع أكل، لا قال انتوا أبقوا قال عندكم لحد ما تقدروا تتمكنوا. الاثنين بتاعه انه بنشوف انه نعم يوغندا يريد نقطة بتاعت الدولة بتاعتنا، لأنه كل المؤسسات بتاعتنا الأمنية هم عارفين على ذلك. نعم إنما الحق يضربونا بقنشي بيهود هنا في الدولة بتاعتنا، وإنما الحق ذات يضربوا المواطنين هناك يرحلون بالقصد، لأنه المواطنين شالوا الأموال بتاعتنا هنا ودوه هناك وبنوا الأماكن دي البنية التحتية دي كويسة، على أساس إنه هم هيقدروا يبدوا بكل استراتيجيات أمنية عسكرية بتاعهم هم يقدروا. وإما عشان ما نقول الحكومة بتاعتنا يقدر يعمل شنو أو يفعل شنو، إنه الحكومة ما عنده ولا حاجة. الحكومة عنده الحقيقة عشان يقتل المواطن بتاعه هنا بس، الليلة ده ريبول هنا طرف الشارع هنا ده دارين عمل كده وماشيين هناك، لكن عشان يقدر يصدق الغزو الجاي من الخارج أنا بشوف إنه كذوب كبير. إذا لو قلتوا أيضا كذاب علينا قاعدين فرد الواقع ما في تفعيل. أنا بشوف إنه لا حكومة أو الجيش بتاعنا قاعد يقدر يصد اللي يوغندا.
نعم. شكرا لعزك للتعليق بتاعه. راديو
Emmanuel, good morning.
Yes, good morning, David. Welcome.
Emmanuel, when we talk about this issue of the border, the role of the government is to protect the citizen with their properties. Now people are competing for one position of leadership and they don't even think about the territory of the country. The country that they are leaders of is South Sudan, and they should have to protect the citizen with their properties and the borders, whereby those people were created by God in those areas as their place. So my request our government is, why are you not protecting citizens with their properties? For how long are you going to fight for only one chair? Now leadership is for the country, and the leadership can go, the political party can go, the politician can go, but the territory can remain for lives. So the role of the SPDF of South Sudan is to defend the country. And if there is a relationship between Uganda and South Sudan, or Juba and Kampala, or President Kiir and President Museveni, why are they not looking into the issue of these countries? Now the protection or the help that the other SPDF I mean the UTDF of Uganda that they are doing is not only to come and grab the land of South Sudan. That is what is so-called Mobutu Protocol. It's talking about how the country should help each other if there is any problem happening in that country. But doesn't mean that you can come and grab part of the land as a hiring. If you need something to be given by the people of South Sudan, then you should have to ask for money or anything that you are hired to be given, but should not be the land. Those people of Eastern Equatoria, they deserve to be in that area because it's the land that will be created by God as their own land. So my request to our government is, the relationship doesn't mean that the land can be given to Uganda. The relationship is only the issue that is being agreed by the government of Uganda and South Sudan, full stop.
Right.
So those people, they should have to remain there and they must be protected. Thank you.
All right, thank you. They must be protected. Radio.
Emmanuel جسر بكلو المجوي المعك.
أستاذ مجوك تفضل.
تعرف إيمانويل كان يوغندا نحن نقول يوغندا لكن يوغندا دي برنامج مع حكومة لأنه الاتحاد الجيش يوغندا قاعد يعمل المواطنين حتى الأراضي بتاعنا حتى في كم مناطق يوم أكثر من كم 20 منطقة يوغندا شالوا وحتى ناس من قتلوا واحد قتلوا ذاته يعني نفرين من جنوب بتاع جنوب السودان هم أفضل يتكلم كويس هذا يعتبر الناس بقوة الناس بقوة ده وده إنذار للجنوبيين بالنسبة للناس اللي يسرقوا بيوت في يوغندا وبنوا البلد في يوغندا بعد شوية بيجي وقت إنه يطردوكم ويرحلوكم وأنت ما بتشيل ما ولا عمارة ساكن ولا راكوب أنت ما بتجيبوا معك كويس فطبعا يوغندا هسه ما ياو بوز هنا ياو موصول الأمن ياو هسه يعني هسه يعني كأنه الجيش هسه ده صار فضيلة وده فضيلة هنا كشعب هسه بنشوف إنه الجيش الوطني بتاعنا اللي هو الجيش بتاع جنوب السودان هسه كانوا بقى ما عنده دور الناس حكومة معتمدة على يوغندا أكثر من الجيش بتاع جنوب السودان لأنه هم هسه ياو بأكلهم ياو بدون $1 وجيب يعني في فهم وتعبانين ساكن عشان كده الجنوبيين المشردين دول في معلوم زاد المشكله زاد الجنوب يعني الريبول الكثير الجنوب زاد ما بخلي الجنوبيين يكون مساحه يعني زي ناس يقولوا ما عندهم مراه كله زي ناس على النيل ما عندهم مراه كله طردون بجاي حموي بجاي خطروا بجاي وعملوا بجاي نعم يعني كلام كثير لكن بنشوف انه زي ما بنكون ناس داخليا احسن ما انت تكون لاجئ انا بفضل كده اننا جنوب السودان ما بنمرق منه رغم ان حتى بيوت يعني في وقت ما زي زمان ناس اللي عنده بيوت حتى رجعوا بيوت ناس اللي في محاكم
نعم
في جرجر لا في ناس بنوا في بيوت بتاع ناس فانا بشوف انه الجزء بتاع يوغندا ما يابشوف انت لو حبيت يوغندا ما انت حبيت الجرب بتاع الحكومه يوغندا يابو خليه يعمل زي ما داير شكرا جزيلا.
alright ده طبعا ما بنقدر ناكد او ننكر بيدفعون كان $1 ولا كان هم شالوا 25 من المناطق هنا ده في النهايه بيرجع للتاكد من السلطات كل ما احنا بنبيسه او بنرجو انه يحصل في نهايه المطاف يكون في علاقه وطيده بين البلدين. اي راديو
هلو
ماما ماريا
يا صباح الخير ماني
صباح النور تفضلي.
انا سلم المسلمين كله لمن الكلام ده يعني انا بعين حاجه جايه بتاعت ناس جيران وناس اصدقاء يلا انت بعملوا كلام جديد انت جات رئيس محل اوغندا دي هو ما بيكلم ما جستو يعملوا كلامات جديد
ما قال مشكله سيلاري بدا ضربوا من تجاه جنوب السودان منين
يا لو من بيغرودو
يا لو من ترودو لاجين تنر يوم ورايني
اوكي يلا اجا على ايمانويل يا ولدي حكومه تاعنا كل يعمل كل مواطنين على في كامب بتاع اوغندا كل رجعوا كل جماعه رجع في بلد تاعي كل دول كل رجع في بلد تو يا جماعه طبعا ده حاجه بوري جات شنو كان ما انه كده ada tanah sana الموت في كرتوم على كاتولين عند كامب hata pasang kalasu nihaya mata haja tani mati netija wale bisunu akiri au jede kalasu mawatanin de mat kusara sake kali hukuma hainu kalambe kaliri jao mawatanin kaliri jao lajinde kulu kaliri jao aradita junub kabir ya jamaa bakaliri jao nas kali yakuti aradita ta junub ni dali jede be mutu sake ata hinak te kam nasa hamilanin kama mutu iyal skerin kama mutu abubar kama mutu ina yara de kusara to sinu hukuma kali jare kali rija مواطنين ورا مواطنين قال راجع في بيوت في محل توقو اي كل زول قال رجع في محل اللي ولدوه فوقه كان مده جاته قال جاي لقيتها في محل اي شكرا.
alright شكرا لك ماما ماريا راديو.
انا جزء كده.
نعم سليمان.
لا كده طبعا انا ما بكون مستغرب بيعملوا لنا اهانه زي ما عسى يا سلام ليه كل انا اول حاجه بيرجع لهم للسياسيين بتاعنا والحكومه بتاعنا لانه لو كان في امن زاد وكان ما في زول فكره بيمشي في يوغندا لانه قبائل دي المتاكمه بين يوغندا هناك ودي نفسه قبائل انت لو شفت دي نفسه قبائل الحدود دي نفسه كان كابوا ولا مادي ولا شيء كلها نفسه قبائل في يوغندا وفي السودان ده اهانه للحكومه بتاعنا لانه هسه هنا الجيش بتاعنا متلت ديننا ريبوي متلت ديننا يعني جيش كان لقاك انت كمواطن بقتلوك ريبوي كان لقاك انت كمواطن بقتلوك هم بتاعهم بين تتابع الحكومه تتابع ريبوي بس كده عشان كده خلى نازل فات في مكيمات ده كان ما في زول يقدر يمشي في مكيمات يا عقيله بما يكون ان الحكومه ما بعمل اي حاجه الحكومه بعمل شنو؟ لانه كان زول البديف ان الاس اس بي دي اف سودان بيبل ديفنس فورسز ده كان يا دفاع بتاعنا لكن هسه ما في زول قاعد يدافع مواطنين بتاعنا بالعكس جابوا جيش بتاع يوغندا ده السودان مناو اسعد قاعد يدافع سودان ده يوغندين ده تسوى يوغندين بقى مرتاحين بيعمل اي اهانه لنا اسا علاقه بتاع مواطن شنو مع سلاح ضربوا من السودان كان ضربوا لا ضربوا سلاح ده ولا كان ده حكومه ضربوا علاقه بتاع مواطن شنو بعدين في قوانين دوليه زول لاجي ده عنده معامله معين انت لازم تعامل له معامله كويس مجرد وقت تشيله ترجع ورا ودار مالك قدر ما نتقالوا دير زول لك اللي شنو كده يموت فاحنا قاعدين في اهانه دي عقيله لانه في الثغره الحكومه بتاعنا قتل يوغندا اصلا احنا قاعدين في استثمار بتاع يوغندا بالمناسبه كده سينسيرلي سبيكينج فما في حاجه حكومه بيعمل للاسف الشديد ما في حاجه حكومه بيعمل ربنا بس بيساعدوا عنا وبيساعدوا بلدنا.
alright
ثانك يو.
شكرا لمشاركتك راديو. هلو راديو. alright فقدناك في الخط بيجيبنا لحوالي 43 دقيقة بعد الساعة 7 في استديوهات اي راديو. And remember what the journalist Vita Henry told I Radio that those who fled Uganda are now sheltering in schools and health centers in Nyarigolo village, that is Panyume Payam of Morobo County. And Henry also said that the centers are overcrowded and lack basic services like food, water, and shelter. He also said the security situation in the area remains tense after recent clashes between government troops and SPLM-IO forces. Now, although government forces control Morobo town, according to him, armed groups are still seen in nearby areas.
It's the break of a new dawn, and this is the dawn on iRadio.
iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. iRadio.
Yes, and welcome back from the break. Now let's move to the next item, which is our last for today's edition of The Dawn, where a civil society activist has questioned the significance of the recently renewed UN Security Council's arms embargo on South Sudan, saying they don't have impact in preventing armed violence in the country. Edmond Yakani, the executive director of Community Empowerment for Progress Organization, OSEPO, said despite the sanctions, the country continues to face security challenges. He also said some neighboring countries of South Sudan are not cooperating with the UN Security Council to ensure the sanctions are fully implemented, respected, and adhered to. Now remember, the UN Security Council on Friday renewed for 1 year the arms embargo against South Sudan, along with targeted sanctions including a travel ban and asset freeze on specific individuals and entities. The resolution was adopted with 9 votes in favor and 6 abstentions. It also extended the mandate of the panel of experts, which supports the South Sudan Sanctions Committee until July 1st, 2026. Now, commenting on the matter, on the sanctions. Activist Yakane said South Sudanese should work collectively in lifting the sanctions against the country. According to Yakane, this will require regular reports on the performance of military justice in prosecuting suspects, demobilization of children from armed groups, sexual violence in armed groups, unification of forces as enshrined in the revitalized peace agreement, among many others. Let's listen to Edmond Yakane.
I'd like to take this opportunity to raise my concern on the renewal of the arms embargo on South Sudan by the United Nations Security Council. It is not a surprise and it's not first of its kind in South Sudan. We have seen a couple of years UN Security Council have imposed the sanction of arms embargo and things like travel ban and other types of sanction on South Sudan. But the question people normally have is that have those sanctions hold water? Yes, those sanctions hold water at a certain limitation, and still we have seen, besides these sanctions, deadly armed violence is taking place in the country, like recently where we have seen protection and safety of civilians are under big question. And as we speak now, still armed violence that are deadly in nature are taking place in the country. And the question somebody have is that why should not the arms embargo prevent the occurrence of this deadly violence? The flow of arms into the country have a lot of illegal routes and illegal chances of bringing arms into the country, and specifically when countries that are neighbors to South Sudan are not cooperating with the international community in enforcing the sanctions like the arms embargo. The arms embargo will not hold water, but of course the arms embargo will give an indicator of profiling any other armed group in conflict in terms of protecting civilians, or protection of civilians become a primary responsibility of any other armed group in conflict. And that's why arms embargo was being used to profile those armed groups that does not want to respect or honor protection of civilians during their military confrontation where they're using arms. As I speak by now, the arms embargo have not yet have a huge impact in preventing armed violence in the country, but it is an instrument that tells you very clear that those who intend to undermine the arms embargo will be targeted. The question we have, how can we work as a South Sudanese collectively to work towards the lifting of the arms embargo? And other question, is it possible that South Sudanese at a different constituency, government, political party, civil society can work together for the lifting of the arms embargo? My answer is yes. We are aware that international community have given us 5 indicators that if we met them, they will help in the international community considering lifting of the arms embargo. And those 5 indicators, we have capability of delivering them as required by the international community. And I will tell you one of the indicators right now we're engaging, but our limitation is that our government is not genuinely reporting on one of the indicators. The role of the military justice court that is registering huge positive stories, being it in Yei, in Morobo, in Unity, in Upper Nile, in some parts of the country. We have seen how the military mobile court is doing a lot of tremendous positive success stories, but those stories are not reported that are delivered to the UN Security Council, or even the reports that are being generated through the action of the mobile court are being reported to Geneva, the Human Rights Council, so they will see that South Sudan is providing response to one of the indicators that among the 5 indicators. Secondly, we are aware that there's efforts towards demobilization of children from the armed groups, and I think it's something that also other organizations who are partners with the government are working together with the government and specific Ministry of Defense. Those are some of the also positive stories that we need to commit ourselves, and that's what to call upon armed groups, being rebels or government, to abstain from recruiting children into their foot soldiers, because that's one of the conditions why arms embargo is imposed on us. And then also soldiers will not commit sexual violence in the face of the conflict or in face of the violence, because that's one of the indicators, or looting civilians. So I think we have opportunity of working together as South Sudanese, as different actors, towards the lifting of the arms embargo. And one of the biggest scores that can help us in lifting the arms embargo is the implementation of chapter 2 of the RRCs. If we're able to unify our forces and make our forces have a huge discipline and adhere to human rights respect and also uphold the rule of law and pay attention to international and democratic standards in the practice of their exercise as a security and defense institution sectors, we may likely win the international acceptance for lifting of the arms embargo. So peace and security, it is the number one indicator that if we work towards it, that will help the international community to lift the arms embargo. But of course, this current imposed arms embargo, without cooperation of the neighbors, and also if the international community have no instrument for dealing with illegal arms suppliers, because as we have arms embargo being imposed on South Sudan, they are illegal arms suppliers. So for me, it's a collective responsibility. As South Sudanese, we must take our responsibility to also challenge the international community by responding to the indicators that were given to us by the international community, which are already there, pronounced multiple times by so many international actors. So I think the ball is in our hands as South Sudanese, all of us, being in the government, being in opposition, being whoever we are, we collectively work towards that. And I think as a civil society leader, I would like to take this opportunity to appeal to the government that let us not take the arms embargo as a sensitive thing. My appeal, if it's possible, let us have a national round table on to discuss what efforts can we deliver, what actions can we deliver that will contribute for encouraging the international community to lift the arms embargo that is imposed on South Sudan. But as long we still use arms as an instrument of resolving our political differences, there's a limited chance for the arms embargo to be lifted. And that's why we want to call upon the incumbent government and the armed opposition that let us put down our guns. Let's resolve our political differences through dialogue. This arms embargo will be lifted. So it's a collective responsibility for the lifting of the arms embargo, and we need neighbors of South Sudan to cooperate in making sure that we all work together to respect the arms embargo in order to create dialogue as the only option of resolving our political differences. And remember, I keep on reminding South Sudanese that there's no country that is administered without political differences among political grouping or political parties. Normally, such differences we need to resolve through dialogue, not through armed struggle.
يدموني كان ناشد بتاع منظمة مجتمع مدني ومدير التنفيذي لمنظمة تمكين المجتمع للتقدم. هل أنت متفق مع الكلام اللي هو قاله ده ولا لا؟ ولا يتصل علينا بكل اختصار. طبعا هو شكك في تنفيذ أو أهمية تجديد المجلس الأمن التابع للأمم المتحدة، مجلس الأمن الدولي، على حظر الأسلحة على جنوب السودان، وبيقول إنه ما عنده تأثير في منع العنف المسلح في البلاد. ويكاني أضاف بأنه بعض الدول المجاورة لجنوب السودان ما قاعدين يتعاونوا مع مجلس الأمن التابع للأمم المتحدة لضمان التنفيذ الكامل للعقوبات واحترامه والالتزام به. وقال برضو إنه يجب على جنوب السودان العمل بشكل جماعي لرفع العقوبات المفروضة على البلاد. اتصل علينا على 11 أو 22-986-986 أو رسل رسالة نصية على 13-986-986 أو برضو قدم تعليق بتاعك على الفيسبوك بيج بتاعنا. عندنا رسالة هنا بيجي من سبيل باب بيقول العقوبات بتاع حظر الأسلحة ضد جنوب السودان لن يكون فعالا ما لم يتخذ قرارات حاسمة ضد الدول الذين يمارسون مصالحهم الخاصة ويرفضون انسياق قرار مجلس الأمن الدولي. أنا أعتقد أن هذا القرار يكون ملزمة إذا انضم الاتحاد الأفريقي كمراقب وتشكيل لجنة مراقبة حظر الأسلحة ضد جنوب السودان. الاتحاد الأفريقي من الدول اللي بيدعو برضو، أو من الاتحاد الأفريقي دائما بيدعو لرفع الحد من توريد الأسلحة لجنوب السودان أو وضع الحد للزيادة بتاع تجديد الحظر ده. راديو يس
لكن طبعا في موضوع حظر الأسلحة يا كان قال كلامات
منو معنا؟
من المفترض الحكومة بيعمل أول حاجة
عرف نفسك
يعملوا رفع الأسلحة. لكن يا كده
يا أخي سليمان عرف نفسك عشان الناس يعرفوا دائما لما تتصل. لما تتصل قول اسمك.
فأنا نشوف ما في ده اللي رفع بتاع سلاح السي، لأنه لو سلاح جابوه بيكون أكاد من كده. يعني أحسن ناس عيادة بتاع مواطنين سوريا بالقبل، لكن لو جابوه ثاني مناجم بين الموت كله. فأنا داير أول حاجة حكومة ينزل نفسه. يكون في جيش واحد، أمن واحد في البلد، استقرار تام. بدل يكون في أمن بيجيبوا أسلحة لحماية بتاع وطن، ما لقتل بتاع مواطنين. لكن لو هسه رفعوا هسه كده إحنا كلنا بنموت. فعشان كده أنا داير نناشد المجتمع الدولي بأنه كريم ما يرفع أسلحة لحد لو شاف في التحسن بدل يمكن بيجي بيشيل.
نعم.
يعني البرا أنا سمعت حماية لنا كجنوبيين.
شكرا لك لمشاركتك على راديو.
Good morning.
Yes.
David Mago from Wow.
Go ahead.
My brother, with this issue of sanction, according to the charter of UN Security Council, they say that this one should be lifted to a very organized country where there is system and there is peace. But when our leadership now is complaining about the issue of guns and so forth, now the civilian become threat to the government. If you go now to the cattle camps or to the villages, you can get those people, they have very many guns than the army. And we have seen some example when the army do clashes with the citizens, with some youth in some villages. So the first thing that the government should have to do is let them make a country disarmament, of which all the guns should be collecting back to the government. This is number one. Number two, the peace should be implemented. Number three, the security arrangement should be 100%. Then number four, we should have to go for election. After that, we will ask for sanction, and we'll ask even for the many embargoes that we need even to serve the country. But if the citizens now are being killed with these previous guns and so forth, why do they want guns? Do they want it to come and do what for it? This is the thing that they should have to buy themselves. What is supposed to be number 1 year is implementation of the agreement, so that we go for election, and the elected government will ask for sanction to be lifted, and we'll even ask for many guns to be brought to the country. But this power-sharing government, we the citizens, we say absolutely not. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's the view of David Magog from Wow Radio. Hello Radio. All right, ارجع تاني واتصل علينا 11 و22 986 نرفع مكالمتين بكل اختصار قبل ما نختم ونمشي للاخبار باللغه العربيه. راديو.
ايوه.
Yes.
Jackson from Serikala.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I think we South Sudan should take so many times to make sure that all these now we are not taking of anything. We are just only having guns, and the generals who are there are giving guns to their own people, and we are we have money to buy it from the government, and we own it. What the use of bringing another gun to another gun? What should they do? Why can't we just put that thing, or if not, let them use that those bullets to finish, and then new guns can be given to this soldier. I think that's the only thing. I don't.
All right, thank you, John, also for your view. Let's leave it there for today. We've come to the end of the Dawn edition. Join us again tomorrow morning at the same time to get the latest on what's happening in South Sudan and also beyond the borders. Up next, news in Arabic with Obaj, Okuj, Shaqawa. On behalf of the Dawn team, Paulina Ate, Darlington Moses, and Awan Moses, not forgetting producer Barry Johnson. This has been Emmanuel Joseph Akile. Have a good day, stay blessed, stay safe. We'll meet again tomorrow.